following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome in, welcome in. It is Main Street Today time. So excited that you're here and you're part of what we do every day. Hope you'll check in. If you were watching, wherever you're watching, whatever page, we want to direct you to go to Main Street Today on Facebook or YouTube. Click subscribe, click follow, and also you can go to the YouTube page and you can click the little bell and it tells you when we go live, because it's not just about our show. Sometimes we'll go live from an activity, and we always like to take you with us. Who's popped in early with us today? Oh, good morning, Steve Burney. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have you clicking in every morning early. Loretta Huff, Lo, my sister. So glad that you guys are with us today, and click share if you would, and tell people about our midday show. You can catch it on the replay. And if you're catching it on the replay, we love to hear from you. We're going to kick off our show today with a reminder of safety. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office really kicks up everything this time of year because there's so many accidents that happen this time of year, and so many needless accidents just because of little safety tips. And you think that safety belts don't matter. Did you know that Tennessee, they just released the statistics yesterday that we have a 91% compliance in Tennessee for seatbelts? That's huge. And it's really affected our accidents, and it's really affected. If distracted driving and speeding weren't an issue and drunk driving weren't an issue, we wouldn't have any accidents at all, really. But we do. So it bears repeating.
Hi, I'm Buddy Lewis, Director of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Before you hit the road for Thanksgiving, we have a few safety tips to share with you. If you are traveling long distances, please do not drive drowsy. Pull over at rest stops and take breaks as needed. Plan ahead to ensure you are rested and prepared for the road. Tennessee is a hands-free state. You cannot hold your cell phone while driving. This means no texting while driving or making phone calls. If you need to use your phone, pull over or let your passengers handle it for you. Hands-free is the way to be. Our communities will be celebrating Thanksgiving festivities, so be aware of pedestrians. Let's keep everyone safe. Never drink and drive. Always find a sober ride home. And don't forget to buckle up, Tennessee. This includes your child passengers. Safe travels and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Well, that refers to Thanksgiving, but it works for Christmas too. The holidays are a time when we have needless accidents. Coming up in Winchester, Tennessee, 10:30 a.m. at an incredible Oldham Theater. It's one of the we have so many wonderful historic theaters around Tennessee and Middle Tennessee. The Oldham Theater is celebrating the 20th anniversary of their square, of their Christmas festival, and 20 years for the movie Paper Angels. Jimmy Wayne sat down with us, and we're going to share more of his story in just a moment. But I wanted to start his story by mentioning the foster children in our area. There's such a need for foster parents to step up. There is a need for people to volunteer to help with the foster care children. There are many organizations that try to help. But one of the things that Jimmy Wayne, as a product of the system, did was walk across America, which he profiled beautifully in his New York Times best-selling book, A Walk to Beautiful. I encourage you to get that book because it will change all of your whining, all of your complaining. It will change with what he talks about in this book. And sitting down with him and talking about the foster care system and why he did what he did to raise the limit for the aging out our foster children, it's pretty incredible. And we're going to share with him right now.
On the way it looks on paper, if you will, that's the extended foster care in Tennessee, California, 23 states total from 18 to 21. So you used to, when a kid reached 18 years old or young, they would just age out. And 20% of the children who age out immediately, instantly become homeless. 20%. There's 30,000 children, 30,000 a year in America that age out each year. And 20% of those are immediately homeless. 49% of that 30,000 is females. So we're talking like 49% of that, of those children, of that 30,000, is females. And one, see what the statistic is within the first year, 50% of them become pregnant within that first year. 81% of sex trafficked children were recipients of the foster care system. I mean, it is such a crisis, and it's right here. We can do something about it. So I'm trying to get every state to extend foster care, because what that will do, first of all, it is about the money. The state wants to know how much it's going to cost. Guess what? It's not going to cost you anything. In fact, they've done the research. There's a $2.60 return on every dollar invested. You save money by doing this. Why? Because, well, 1 out of 4 ends up incarcerated within 2 years. You're talking about a 50% of the females who end up pregnant. Now you got 2 children to care for through the welfare system. So if you extend it, just extend it for 3 years and offer minimum resources. Now, we're not talking like handouts to kids that don't want to help themselves, because you either have to have a job or you have to be in school.
Wow.
And you're helping a child become transition into adulthood and become a productive citizen. How do I know that's true? Because I have met some of these children face to face. I literally just met a kid at the TBI conference in Nashville. And he said to me right in my face he said, "Thanks, man, for doing that walk, because I was getting ready to turn 18 and I would have been homeless." And he got 3 additional years to get himself together. And now he has a wife, a family. He has a job. He works for the state. I mean, meeting these kids, I'm hearing their stories and them saying how that walk, that little thing that I did, I mean, it's just amazing. It truly is amazing.
And it's when good people do something, that lives are changed. And I almost can't talk about it because it's so huge. And I think about the number of children right now. Did you know, and I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but the number of prison beds that are funded is based in direct correlation to the number of kids that go into foster care.
Yes.
And that is a travesty, and it is wrong. And you start thinking it's as simple as a paper angel, but as big as changing legislation. And we've got to do something. And I think about what you have done, and God looks for good men who are willing to say yes. And I know one, his name is Jimmy Wayne. And you're changing the story, and you speak at corporate events, and you are changing this for the lives of these children. And we shouldn't have to deal with women in human trafficking or men in human trafficking. But what do you do when you're 18 years old and you're saying, bye?
That's right. Because you know what? I mean, if I could go back to being, 17 years old and homeless. I was homeless when I was 16. If someone had come to me and said, "There's a way out of this," I would have asked how. I mean, because when you're a kid, when you're hungry, when you're homeless, and no one is helping you, everyone turns their back, because it's just, if someone says, "Hey man, if you do this deal, this drug run, you can make $1,000 all in a heartbeat," because you don't have any other resource, you just don't. And, so you got to make some money so you can eat. I was very fortunate. I had an elderly family that took me into their home and gave me a chance. And I was one of the very few kids to ever get this kind of chance. And that's why I'm just so passionate, because I know what can happen when you help these kids, when you just give them just minimum resources, just help them just a little bit. And
well, I know that your book and working with you, Ken Abraham, fellow author, it affected him profoundly.
Yeah.
Now he and his wife have been opening their hearts and their home to children. And I want to encourage that. But there's this video I found of you that I thought was a sweet moment, and I'm going to ask you about it.
After every day after Thanksgiving sells, it always just ain't complete without a bunch of decorations and a paper angel tree. There's artificial smiles on artificial tree limbs, saying what she'd love to have and what to buy for him.
Who is that youngster, and how did what happened?
Well, first of all, just look at that little kid and just ask yourself or say to yourself, how can a kid with little small elbows, little small arms that long, how can someone abandon him? That's just, it's hard to believe. And it's also amazing that a family would reach into his life and take him in. And you're like, wow, who would ever give that kid up? But that happened. That happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And I was doing one of my keynote presentations in Casper, Wyoming, and the family came out to see the presentation. They brought him because his favorite song was Paper Angels. And
oh, wow.
And I just, again, I'm just like, wow, man. So I said at the table, his mom, I think his mom or his dad was filming that. And he would just sit and listen to the whole song like an adult. He just, little elbow.
Yeah, no, it's the sweetest. It is the sweetest capture of that. And I want to encourage everybody. How can people, you'll know that the answer to this question, this Christmas, I want to encourage everybody, instead of buying a lot of stuff that somebody in your family doesn't need. I love this beautiful part of Paper Angels, the movie, where she says, let's get an angel and let's buy them everything they want for Christmas. And the husband says, no, I don't think we can afford that. He goes, no, this is my Christmas present for me. And I want to encourage everybody to grab an angel off those trees, grab a bunch of them this year and support those kids rather than buying stuff for each other that you don't need, that you probably won't even remember, but those kids will remember it. Maybe you buy a guitar for a kid and it changes their life. What else can we do, Jimmy? What can we do to change the system?
Yes, there's many organizations, and it's, I love the Salvation Army, and there's other organizations that's also helping, families, and there's ministries. I recently saw a battered women's shelter online where they collected enough money to get this woman who was in the battered women shelter with her children. And she was walking to work, and what she did for a living, she cleaned rooms at a hotel. And I'm like, what a hard life. But they got enough money to get her a used car. So everything you can almost think of a way to help someone, and there's a place you can go to and get involved. You can just Google how can kids that need help in my community, or organizations that serve children in my community, and it'll pop up everything. All those organizations will pop up. But the Salvation Army is where I go because it's who helped me when I was a kid, me and my sister and my mom. But I help a lot of organizations out there who are helping kids and families, and there's so many. And I'll just say, if you can do anything to help any of these organizations, they all ask for donations, and it's because they have to keep the lights on. They have to pay the resources.
One of the I'm going to actually finish that interview tomorrow because we are dividing. Jimmy's story is so vast and it's so incredible that we literally have divided up into 3 parts. So I'm going to save the rest of that interview because that's kind of razor blades we are. And standing by, we have a mom, a mom who has, when good people do something, things change. And that's what we're talking about today. Phaedra Creed is part of an important event tonight, and she's part of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Hi, Phaedra. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Devin?
I'm wondering, you look so pretty.
Oh, thank you. Getting ready for the big show tonight.
I know it is. It's the night of remembrance, and it's a very solemn night, and but it's a beautiful night because explain to people what the night of remembrance is. It happens every year in Nashville.
Yes, it does. It's actually a statewide ceremony that we host here in Nashville. And it's a night in which we celebrate our loved ones, whether they've been bereaved families, whether it's injured victim families. We celebrate this night. And then following our celebration, we honor law enforcement. We do a fallen officer tribute as well with a candlelight vigil. And then following that, it's a time for a better positive environment. It's a time in which we do an awards ceremony to provide our first responders, our volunteers, and our law enforcement awards for the outstanding work that they have done.
Wow. 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 That is so incredible. And it's going to be, and you know what? It's so funny because I don't always get into town and pay attention to what's around. I'm trying to watch the roads now because we've got so many people on the roads. And the other night I saw Sonesta Hotel and I'm going, when do we get a Sonesta? And then lo and behold, that's where a night of remembrance is being held, is at the Sonesta.
Yes, it absolutely is. It's a beautiful hotel.
I'm from Louisiana, so New Orleans, right there on Canal Street, the Royal Sonesta is down there. So I know the chain very well. But tonight, what time and who can attend the night of remembrance?
We would welcome anyone to be able to attend. We are having a plated dinner, so definitely get there early enough for that. But it is at 6 p.m. is what time the ceremony will start tonight. And we are just so excited. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have it last year due to the pandemic. So this year we're going to be honoring officers from the year 2019 as well as 2020. So we'll be able to, we're definitely going to have a full house tonight, that's for sure.
What do people need to RSVP, or is there a charge at the door? If there's a dinner, is there a charge?
We do have a charge for outside guests, and it is $50 a plate.
Okay.
But it's a nice dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a nice dinner, and but we're very excited for them to be able to be here tonight. And currently, I think we're expecting about 325 individuals.
What made you get involved with Mothers Against Drunk Drivers? It's a powerful organization when mothers stepped up and said, not my child.
It is, it's actually a wonderful time here in Tennessee because this is our 40th anniversary year. For 40 years, Mad Tennessee has been established, and it started because of a mother who wanted to make a change. Mm-hmm. Millie Webb, she is a former Mad National president and a dear, sweet friend of mine. But Millie was riding home. She was 7 months pregnant at the time. She was with her husband and her daughter, her 4-year-old daughter, and her 18-month-old nephew, Mitch. And as they were driving home, a drunk driver, a .08 drunk driver, crossed that center lane and he hit their car, causing it to burst into flames. Millie was 7 months pregnant at the time, and over 75% of her body was burned. Mm. She lost her 4-year-old daughter in that crash and her 18-month-old son or nephew, Mitch. And with that crash, even her 7-month-old baby was born 2 months premature. And they had to do the C-section actually naturally because they were so concerned about trying to sedate her. It is this story is one of the reasons why, and Millie is still actively involved to this day. And she's the one who actually started our Mad Tennessee chapter.
Wow.
So this is a very special year for us. Now, I myself was fortunate enough to meet Millie over 20 years ago now. It doesn't even seem possible. But I met her because I myself was a victim of a .08 drunk driving crash. Back in those days, a point-away drunk driver was nothing because that wasn't the law. As a matter of fact, the offender that hit me crossed the center lane, and he hit me what they considered a nearly head-on collision. From that crash, I have suffered many, many, many injuries. But the most catastrophic thing that happened to me, due to the impact of the crash, we hit so hard that he ripped the aorta heart valve away from my heart. And at the age of 22, I was taken in for open heart surgery. During that surgery, I was bleeding to death. I was dying on the operating table. The doctors did the only thing they could do, and they cut off the blood supply to my lower extremities. And from that crash, I became paralyzed, and I will spend the rest of my life living in a wheelchair. That is the reason I became involved.
I always ask, and thank you for being so open and so vulnerable as to tell your story, because when we tell the stories, we understand that it comes from a real place. When we see these big organizations, it's very easy for them to think, oh, they're an organization. Oh, it's mad. It's blah, blah, blah. No, every single person involved has been affected by this cause. And I think about Jimmy Wayne walking across America to help fellow foster children. And you, Phaedra, what you have done and what you're bringing together tonight. We invite everybody to be part of a night of remembrance. Tonight, what time do doors open?
Doors will open at 5:45.
5:45. Wow. Phaedra, I did not even know your story. And I did not know your story. And I thank you for sharing it with us, because it is in the stories that we make change.
Well, we appreciate you so much for taking the opportunity. And of course, we ourselves are big fans of Jimmy Wayne. He was at our event 2 years ago when we had our last event.
Oh, wow.
And we have mutual friends that have been actively involved in MAD. And so we appreciate him so much. It was nice popping in and seeing Jimmy's face today.
Well, his story is vast. And I said, we're just going to have to divide this interview up into a lot of different parts, because there's a lot of facets to that diamond.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of facets to you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story, and blessings on your night tonight.
Thank you so much. You have a great day, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. And with that, we're going to play a brand new Christmas song from my favorite band, Exile.
It's more than the rustle of pretty paper, more than the ringing of a bell, more than the laughter of little children. It's all of these things and something else. It's more than the silence of snowflakes falling, caught on the tip of your tongue. It's the feeling of home this time of year, a voice that calls to everyone. It's a symphony of memories playing deep inside of me. Takes me back to when I used to be young. It's a joyful noise, joyful noise, a joyful noise. It's not only the embers in the fireplace or the crackling of the flame that keeps us warm. It's the sound of someone loved you've been missing, when you hear their footsteps walking to your door. It's a symphony of memories playing deep inside inside of me takes me back to when I used to be young. It's a joyful noise, joyful noise, joyful noise. The greatest gift we can give to someone else is the story of Jesus we tell. It's a joyful noise, joyful noise, joyful noise.
That's brand new from Exile. Their Christmas album is incredible, and I hope you'll go and download it. Joyful Noise. Thank you, guys. My favorite band. Everybody knows. Love them, love them, love them. We tell stories, and we sat down with Skip Ewing, and I asked him a question about his Christmas past. He's got a beautiful Christmas project, and his story was deep and wide, just like Jimmy Wayne's. And I wanted to ask him about his past Christmases and why he did a Christmas record. I want to talk about this Christmas album. This Christmas album, hearing your voice do Christmas music is a blessing. But what said, were you looking at the scenic views in Wyoming when you just said, "Oh, I got to do a Christmas album"?
Well, you know, as I've gone along as an artist and as a writer, I've approached some Christmas themes in music, and I don't usually look like to specific. I don't sit down and say, "Well, today I'm going to try to write a Christmas song." You know, sometimes in the Christmas season, that's where the focus went.
What was Christmas like for you growing up?
You know, I'm going to just be straight ahead honest with you and say when I was growing up, Christmas was one of the worst times it could possibly be. Mm-hmm. It's not really something I talk about a lot, but as I've just kind of gone through my life, allowing myself to recognize everything that I've endured in some manner, and you know, my family, my home, it was not someplace anyone wanted to be, not ever. And Christmas time, of course, then you were home pretty much all the time, and that's not a good thing. So Christmas was, the overall feel of Christmas was that. That doesn't mean that I didn't find anything about Christmas that was good. And I think that, you know, when I'm approaching Christmas or Christmas music, that didn't change the beauty of what Christmas was for me. It just changed my own experience of Christmases when I was young. There were bright spots in there. You know, when we would visit my other family, there were just some times where there was, you know, carol singing, and there were some, you know, some presents and that kind of thing. And I don't want to get tongue-tied on you because I don't want to, you know, say too much, but as we're moving ahead in Christmas, it has traditionally been a very difficult time for me. I haven't, you know, Christmas brings back too many ugly kind of memories. Mm-hmm. And yet, there's as I've reached into my own heart and looked at what Christmas offers, the holiday spirit offers the world, there is something more beautiful than that. And there's a spiritual image that I've always liked, and that is lifting up the lamp or the light of awareness. And so Christmas is kind of like that for me. I just worked on lifting the light up. And you see, if the corners are full of dark, when you lift that light up, well, you don't have to deal with the corners. They go away. All that darkness goes away. Yeah. You just lift the light. So that's what Christmas does a lot of that with me and making Christmas music. I think it's a beautiful time of the year. I think no matter what your faith is, it offers you a time in our human rhythms that where we say, wow, we can make the world a better place. And you know
Right.
what? Even when we say Christmas, in the middle of July or June, you're not having Christmas. But every time we practice generosity, compassion, just loving kindness, so many elements of what is available to us at Christmas, the more time we practice that, the better we get at it, and the more beautiful life is because of it. So that's part of what a Christmas record would be for me.
When every child is born, all the heavens pause to offer a prayer of gratitude and love for every child that rests at its mother's breast. God is there, God is there, Gloria. Every day anyway is a Christmas morn, Gloria. God is there when every child is born. When every child is born, all the heavens sigh, shining in every star up in the sky is all of the fear and hope of a wondering world. God is there, God is there, Gloria. Every day anyway is a Christmas morn, Gloria. God is there whenever a child, wherever a child, forever a child. Whenever a child is born, every heart rejoices. For every child that's born cries with heaven's voice, Gloria. Every day anyway is a Christmas morn, Gloria. God is there whenever a child is born. God is there whenever a child is born.
A big thank you to all the folks who checked in with us today, like Tim Harrison and Barbara and Paul Berkeley in Virginia. I know Jimmy Wayne and Skip Ewing in one show. I know. There's so much great music and Exile, brand new music that's just incredible. Encourage you to go and I try to curate the best music I can find. And Linda Johnson says, yes, that is a beautiful song. And it truly, truly is a new one to sing in church. Yes, whenever a child is born, it's a perfect song for church. And this year, I think I'm just a little bit more reflective over Christmas because it's been a hard couple of years. But no matter what has happened, no matter what we feel has been taken, nothing can steal the spirit of Christmas because the gift wasn't monetary. The gift was otherworldly. It's bigger than we can even contain. And that's what we get to give to everyone. Tonight, a very special event with my friend and dear compadre, Troy Castellano, Instruments for Education, the Holiday Writers Round, raising money for Instruments for Education, getting instruments just like that little guitar that got put in the hands of Jimmy Wayne. And he's played over 220 times on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. And he still has that guitar. And giving a kid an instrument and opening up the doors to music can be life-changing. Ryan Bowie, Chris Garner, and Justin Love will be part of that tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. There is no cover, but we ask you to go and be generous. McNamara's is a fantastic place. It's in Donaldson. It is yummy, yummy, yummy Irish food. And if you don't know about yummy Irish food, I can't help you there. You're just going to have to go and find out. But I do recommend the Scotch eggs. Just saying. It's good. It's good. Have a wonderful Celtic night and a beautiful rest of your day. Be safe, be kind, and remember, most of all, you are loved.